Today, we're diving into a book by Seth Godin called The Icarus Deception. And it's one of those books that takes a story we all think we know and just flips it completely on its head to show us something really important about the world we live in right now. You know the story, right? This brilliant inventor, Daedalus, and his son, Icarus, are stuck in a prison. So to get out, Daedalus builds these incredible wings out of feathers and wax. But just before they leap into the sky, he gives his son one very critical warning. Don't fly too high, or the sun's gonna melt your wings. And yeah, we all know what happens next. Icarus gets totally swept up in the moment. I mean, who wouldn't be? And he just keeps soaring higher and higher. He gets too close to the sun, the wax melts, and he falls into the sea. For literally centuries, this has been the go-to story to warn us against getting too big for our britches. Don't be too ambitious, listen to your elders, and whatever you do, don't aim for the sun. So here's where it gets really interesting. How did this ancient myth become the unofficial instruction manual for the last 100 years or so? Well, it turns out that this fear of flying too high was the perfect myth for the industrial age, an era that was built on conformity, not on daring. The deal was pretty simple, really. Society basically said, hey, just follow the instructions, get a good resume, show up on time, and don't make waves. And in return for swallowing your pride and fitting in, you were promised safety, a good steady job, a pension, a predictable life. Just be a part of the system, and you'll be fine. And this promise, it led to this absolute explosion of standardization. We got things like Wonder Bread, where all the personality and probably nutrition was stripped out for pure efficiency. We got Levittown, where they were building 30 identical houses a day. It even applied to people. J. Edgar Hoover's FBI would actually kick out trainees if their hat size was too small, all because they wanted a standardized agent. I mean, really. So you see, fitting in wasn't just a friendly suggestion. It was the engine that powered the whole economy. Being original was just inefficient. Art was seen as a distraction. The whole system was designed to reward you for being a reliable, totally replaceable cog in a giant machine. The safest thing you could be was average. But right here is where Seth Godin just throws a massive wrench into the works. He asks us to think about a pretty radical idea. What if the story we've been told is basically a lie? What if, in the world we live in today, playing it safe is actually the most dangerous thing you could possibly do? And this brings us right to the heart of the book, to what Godin calls the Icarus Deception. He says that we've been so obsessed with the warning about flying too high that we've completely missed the other danger, the one that's actually far more tragic. This right here, this is the deception. We have been so trained to fear the sun, to fear our own ambition, to fear what might happen if we aim too high and fail, that we've completely ignored the quiet, sinking failure of just settling, of never really spreading our wings in the first place, of flying so low that we just skim the waves our whole lives. That, Godin says, is the real tragedy. Let's look at it this way. The industrial age was terrified of hubris, of that one person who dared to step out of line. But today, in our connected world, the real enemy isn't hubris, it's complacency. It's that cozy comfort of the status quo, the belief that the old rules still work. That's what keeps us from creating, from connecting, and from actually making a difference. That safety net we were all promised, it's gone. Those factory jobs, the predictable careers, the security for compliance deal, that world is over. The new kind of safety isn't found in fitting in. It's in standing out. It's about taking the path that actually feels a little risky, because that safe path, it doesn't lead anywhere anymore. So if compliance is dead, what takes its place? Well, the answer, according to Godin, is art. And no, not painting or sculpting, but something way more fundamental to what it means to be human. Art, in this new era, is any time you do something human that involves being vulnerable. It's launching that project when you have no idea if it will work. It's speaking up in a meeting with an idea you believe in. It's making a real, genuine connection with someone. It's any kind of work you can't just look up in a manual. Work where you have to put yourself out there and say, yeah, I made this. Now, this whole shift needs a completely new mindset. Godin uses these two great Japanese concepts to explain it. The old world was all about tariki, which is like a helpless kitten just waiting for some authority figure to come along and pick it up. You waited for the boss or the publisher or some gatekeeper to say, you're the one. The new world is about jiriki, which is like a monkey who saves himself. It's about picking yourself. It's about finally realizing that no one is coming to discover you. You have to give yourself permission. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we break free from a lifetime of being told to fly low and play it safe? Well, Godin gives us a path forward, and it all comes down to making a conscious choice to fly higher. First, you have to acknowledge what he calls the resistance. You know, that little lizard brain voice in the back of your head that screams, "Don't do it," every time you're about to do something important. Second, you have to choose vulnerability over armor. Take off that mask of professionalism and let yourself make a real human connection. Third, try to be sorry instead of safe. It's so much better to try something and have it not work out than to be so safe that you never even try at all. And finally, the most important one, pick yourself. Stop waiting for permission. Start the blog, launch the project, make your art. You see, the Icarus Deception isn't about being reckless and ignoring the sun. It's about realizing that the sea is just as dangerous. The myth wasn't only a warning about flying too high. It was a challenge to find the courage to get off the ground and find the right altitude. In a world that is practically begging for your unique contribution, for your art, the question isn't if you'll fly anymore. The question is, how high are you willing to go?